I hereby call the meeting to order of the City of Guthrie Board of Adjustment, Thursday, January 16, 2020. It is 5:31 p.m. Do we have any public comments before we proceed? There being none, we move to the approval of the previous minutes from the regular meetings on November 15, 2018 and March 21st, 2019. Are there any questions on those minutes by any members of the board?
Not me. Not me.
I have none. Ken, do you have any?
No.
No.
I move to approve.
I second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We have before us Board of Adjustment Application 19-003, discussion and potential action on a request for a variance to Section 4-423, paren K, close paren, paren 11, close paren B, close paren, to allow for the total square footage of the principal structure versus only the ground level square footage of the principal structure to be utilized in the calculation of the maximum size of accessory structures for a property located at 5923 South Sooner Road. Is that clear to everybody in the room? Does anybody need an explanation of that? Good. We'll move forward. Are there any staff recommendations, Mr. Kasich, that you would like to?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
bring
I'll
forward?
briefly go over and get some of the key points of it. The applicant is looking to build a 768 square foot accessory garage. It's a 24 by 32. When they came in to get a permit is when we discovered that the size that they want to build would exceed what code would allow. The code currently has two determinations on the size of accessory structures. The first being that it cannot exceed 50% of the primary structure's livable area, but that is also limited to the ground floor or ground level square footage only. So the applicant has a 1,582 square foot home. However, the bottom is only 1,052 square feet, which limits them to a 526 square foot maximum square footage they can have on their property. So that's, as was in the introduction, the variance is to allow for the total square footage, the 1,582 square feet, be utilized for determining the maximum size. A couple other things is the zoning code allows up to a 25% lot coverage. Currently, they're at 1.5%. Even if the garage were approved, it would only increase it to 3% because they're on a 1.5 acre lot. So staff feels that in essence they're being penalized by having a 2-story home. And if this were a 1-story home, we wouldn't even be here tonight. So based on that, staff does not feel the applicant is requesting anything in excess of what would be allowed, again, if it were a single-story home. And because of that, staff feels that the applicant has a hardship that was not created by their own actions, and that the request would not cause a detriment to public good or go against the city's comprehensive plan. So with all of that, staff finds that the strict application of the zoning code does not create an unnecessary hardship for the applicant, or does create, I'm sorry, an unnecessary hardship for the applicant, and staff recommends the variance be granted to allow for the entire livable square footage, 1,582 square feet of the principal structure, to be utilized in the calculation of the maximum size of accessory structures. So with that, I'll return it back to the board for any questions you may have, and then if there's any public here that would like to speak.
We may be a little out of sync and order, but does anyone in the audience wish to make any comments or address the commission?
Ma'am, if you could into the mic. No, that's all right. Into the mic, introduce yourself and.
Kate Murray, owner of that property. My husband had surgery, so he couldn't be here. He's the one.
Thank you.
My question for you, I live out that way, excuse the laryngitis.
Yeah.
I live out that way and up and down Sooner, drive that way quite often. This is kind of an acreage property, isn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
1.5 acres,
How many?
1.5.
I see, okay. So you're not squeezed in between two homes or anything?
No.
Okay. And what is the height of the building that you want to build?
I'm not sure the height, but it would be limited to the current code, which is 15 feet, because they're not looking for any exceptions or variances to the height, so it would be limited to a maximum of 15 feet.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes. The part in question on the, I believe it would be the south side, there's 18 feet of easement before the next property at the end of the garage, is that correct?
That's all been surveyed, and I think they should have all that. The builder said they have all the papers
Yes.
for that.
And at that point, in that area, there is no utilities, public utilities that all come through on that property at all? In that easement area, the 18 feet?
No.
All right, thank you.
I drove out and looked at the property, and it would be considered farmland if it was a little further away, you know, so I don't see a problem with it.
I'm ready.
I'm ready to,
Is
as far
there,
as I'm concerned, I don't have a problem with what they're trying to do. Their
I-
square footage is approximately what I've got, a little less, and I've got a three-car shop in the back of the property, so I can't say no to you when I already have the same thing.
Mr. Chair, I didn't know if anybody else in the public would want to speak. There was, yeah, I thought there might be another couple that might like to speak.
My name is Kathy Schrader. I'm hearing impaired, so if you have questions, I'll try to answer them. We live just on the north corner, right on Ridgecrest Drive. And when the Murrays bought their home, I went over and introduced myself, and I have watched this couple work tirelessly to improve that property. After living across the street from the property that was in very much need of care, constantly I've seen this couple work again tirelessly to improve it. We have no issues at all with the size of the garage. We think it would be an asset to our neighborhood. And as people drive down Center Road, it's been real important that we keep our property up to make the rest of the neighborhood look appealing. And so it's been such a pleasure to watch them make their property appealing as well. We've got lots of homes that are being sold, and so I think this will encourage more people to want to move into our neighborhood. So I just wanted to give my input.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're always concerned about what the neighbors' feeling is towards any of this kind of application. So we'd like to hear from you. We appreciate you coming in.
Thank
Any other comments from the audience or the board?
I would like to make a motion that we approve their request.
I second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried.
Mm-hmm.
Application approved. Thank you, folks.
Let's go home before the
Of
storm.
course, you'll have to have a large barbecue for us at your house.
By the way, as a note off the record, I just mentioned to somebody earlier, this is the second time in 3 years we've had a request for variance on that property. The previous one was for the ability of the owners at the time to keep, was it 4 miniature horses?
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Thank you.
Well, I think they moved. I saw one in the backyard of the subdivision next to my house. I'm hoping it was just for the day or a birthday party.
Visiting pony. I hate visiting ponies.
Or-
Do we have a?
oh, go ahead. Yes. can tell you here was 7, you would be allowed 791. What was proposed that we had was 768. Oh, the 15, 1,582. You might be able to, we'll have to see. Yeah, you're still going to be over that. Yeah.
The,
Here's your picture.
if all matters before it are concluded, the chair will entertain a motion for adjournment.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I second it.
All those in favor